Hi, Jared Embassy once again, and today we'll be dealing with a feature in Azure. I'll be showing you how you can use PowerShell to sign into Azure account, create a resource group, create a nick, create a public IP address, create a network security group, and then create a virtual machine. Then I'll also show you how you can clean your resources when you're done if you intend to do that. So let's jump right into the video. First thing first, I'll be using the PowerShell 7 for this walkthrough. Come to my search bar, search for PowerShell 7, run it as administrator, get this, click on yes, close this, then I'll maximize the screen. Next thing we are going to do is we're going to connect to our Azure account, and I'll use the connect AZ account and let's click enter. Then to ask me to select the account I want to sign into, I'll click on the work control account, click on continue. Then I'll be asked to input the mail. I'll input the mail for the account, click on next. I have to input my password. I'll input my password. Then I'll be asked to authenticate. Now this is a security measure and it's also very important. So it's imperative you do this in your account. I click on yes and I am in. Click on no, this app only. So right now we are into our Azure account and it's retrieving the subscriptions for the selection. In my Azure account, I have only one subscription. So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create our resource group. To create our resource group, I use the command new AZ resource group, and the name of my resource group is Basil Algae, and the location is ECL. Click enter. It take a few minutes, and the resource group will be created. Yes, my resource group has been created. Basil Algae, location is East US. The provision state has succeeded. And this is the resource ID. Next, we are going to create virtual network. Create a virtual network. I'll use the commandlet. Now for this commandlet, my address prefix is 10.0.0/16. Virtual network. The command for the virtual network is new easy virtual network. Then the name of my virtual network is Basil VNet. The location is East US. Now click on enter. And I click enter. To take a few minutes. And my virtual network will be created. My virtual network has successfully been created. Next, we are going to create a subnet in the virtual network that the virtual machine will be using. For us to get to do this, I'll use the commandlet add AZ virtual network subnet config. Now the address prefix for this is 10.0.1.0, 10.0.1.0/24. The name of my subnet is Batil subnet 1. The virtual network is this variable here that I attached to be my virtual network. Then I'll click enter. Subnet has been created. Now, I would like us to go to our Azure account and see what we have been able to create so far before I continue. If I come here and I refresh this, we are going to see Basil Algae has been created in the clone sub and it's East US. We click on the Basil Algae. We are going to see our virtual network, which is Basil VNet. Now, before we get to see our subnet, we need to run a pipeline that will bring the subnet in. For us to do that, we come down here, we run this commandlet. But before then, let me just show you that the subnet will not be visible until I run this particular command. So when I come in here, and I come to subnet under settings for my VaccINet, there are no items found. If I refresh this, there are no items found. But if I come down to my PowerShell and I run the commandlet set easy virtual network, as soon as it's done running, we'll go back to our account and we'll see now good. The provision, it has been successfully provisioned. We have the Basil RG, the Basil VNet, the location is East US. It has succeeded. So let's go back there and see how it is. Go back here and I refresh here, and we can see our Basil subnet here with the IPv4 address 10.0.1.0/24. The available IP is 251, and the rest. The next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to create my network security group, my NSG. So I use the commandlet new AZ network security group. My resource group name is set here, Basil RG. The location is East US. The name of this NSG is Basil NSG. You can enter, and that will be created as well. It will take a few minutes. That has been created. The next command we are going to use, the command I'll be using to create my public IP. Now, for my public IP, the name of my public IP is Basil PIP. The resource group is Basil RG. The location is East US. Located method is static. The SKU is standard. The IPv4 IP address version is IPv4. So this is what we are going to use to create our public IP. As soon as it's done creating, I'll go back to now it has been created. Let me go back to our virtual our resource group and see what we have created so far. If I refresh this, we'll see that we have our Basil virtual network, we have our Basil NSG again, we have our Basil PIP that has been created. We have the public IP address and it's US. The next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create our NIC. But before creating our NIC, we need to use a variable to allocate the different name of the resources. Then we go ahead to create our NIC. So the first commandlet I'm going to run is this. Allocating the resource group name to be this, the location to be East US, the VNet name to be Basil VNet, the subnet name to be Basil subnet 1, the NIC name to be Basil NIC. So we click enter. That has been. Next command we are going to run, after getting that, is a command to configure our virtual network, to get our virtual network, so we can use it to create our NIC. So this is the VNet. We are getting the virtual network now that we want to use to create our NIC. Go next, enter. That's entered. The next one we are going to get is we are going to get our subnet that we are going to use to create our NIC. We're going to run it. That has been run. The next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create our NIC. The NIC we are going to create, we are going to use the nickname that has already been associated. We're going to use our resource group name that has already been stated here. Our resource group name has already been stated. We are going to use the location. We're going to use the subnet. Click on enter, and that will take some time to create. And that has been created. Now let's go back to our Azure portal to see what we have created so far. Remember, we have created our virtual network app and our NSG. We get to refresh this. We will see that our NIC has also been created and is in the East US location. The next thing we are going to create now is we are going to create our virtual machine. So we create our virtual machine. We are going to use the following commandlet. Bring this up. On the new AZVM command. The resource group name is Basil RG. The name for the VM is Basil VM. The location is East US. The image, Microsoft Windows Server Windows 22 Data Center Azure Edition. The latest. The virtual network name is the Basil VNet. The subnet name is the Basil subnet 1 that we already created. Security group name is Basil NSG, and our public address name is the Basil. These are the ports that we require to be open, and we are going to click on enter. Oh, we said the parameter cannot be found that matches parameter VM size. So what I'll do is I'm going to edit that. Click on enter. Now we have done that. You have a command, let new AZVM at command pipeline position 1. If I'm going to supply the values for our user, my username will be Beredem. Click on enter. Password will be yes. So our virtual machine has been created. And these are the parameters for the virtual machine. We have the name to be Basil VM. We have the type to be a Microsoft Complete Virtual Machine. The location is East US. There are no tags that were set. We have everything. The provisioning state has succeeded. So let's go to our resource group to see what we have created so far. If I refresh this, you get to see that yes, we have a virtual machine Basil VM that has been created. Now, if we want to access our virtual machine, after creating a virtual machine, if we want to access this virtual machine, we still need to allow port 3389 for RDP, which I must emphasize is for testing purposes. It's not used in not supposed to be used in a workplace, it's just for testing purposes. What I'll come on the Azure portal to do is I'm going to create an inbound port rule in my NSG and allow 3389 so that we can access our virtual machine before I then clean all the resources. If I go to my try to open my virtual machine and we are here, I click on connect, I can decide to download the RDP file. Before downloading the RDP file, I can check access to be sure if I will have access to it using the RDP. If I'm checking inbound energy rules, it's possible, we'll be let to know. If it's not possible, you'll see a pop-up here to tell us that it's not possible. Now, 339 is not accessible from source IP. We have an energy rule that is blocking it. So what we can do is to create an energy rule that will allow port 3389 for us to be able to access a virtual machine using RDP. I repeat, for testing purposes only. So I can come down to my network settings here. Under my network settings, I will go to my energy, still energy. I will go to my, this is where we have, this is where we have our inbound rules, and I can come on that setting, click on inbound security rules, and I can add an inbound rule from here. I want to access port 3389 is for RDP, and I can click on add. 3389 is exposed to the internet. I need to put the name, so I can just put RDP for the name. I click on add. The moment I do this, the security rule will be created. I'll be able to access my VM using 3389. Note, it's just for testing purposes. Please do not forget. Next, let's go to our Basil resource group. Let's open our virtual machine. Let's go into how we can connect to our virtual machine. Let's check we can check access again to be sure if we will be able to access our virtual machine. It will take a few minutes. Okay, it's accessible from NS. So now we can download the RDP file. Really, it's downloaded. We can click on this and connect to it. And then we can input our password. So this is yes. So this is me connecting to my virtual machine using RDP ports. I remind you again, it's just for testing purposes. In the end of this video, I'll be clearing all the resources. I'll show you how that can be done as well. So this is how we can access, this is how we can create a virtual machine by using PowerShell. I just want it to pop up as soon as it's done. I will close it and then I will clear all the resources. And that will be all for today's video. So this is it. We are into our virtual machine. This is our IP address. And then this is our server manager still coming up to take some time. But I believe you get the message and you can click on yes if you want to allow. We are good to go. So now I'll quickly We are in. This is it. This is our server. So, and now I'll quickly, what was showing there was our public IP, which is 214.47. So now we are in. Now I'm going to show you how you can clear your resources after doing that. I'm going to shut this down quickly. Shut down. Shut down my, okay. Next, I'm going to show you how you can clear your resources using PowerShell. I was able to create my virtual machine. The next thing I want to do is I want to clear all the resources that I created inside my resource group. So the command we are going to use is, you can decide to stop your virtual machine from running before, you can decide to stop it from running before clearing the resources, or you can still leave it. From PowerShell, one of the beauties of people think about PowerShell is that it automates processes, so it will just clear every single thing associated to that resource group. So let me just come to the Basil resource group one more time and show you what we were able to create. Now the Basil resource group, we created the NIC, we created the energy, we created the public IP address, we created the Basil VM, we created the virtual machine, we created the network interface, we created the disk, we created the Basil virtual network. Now what I'll be doing is I'll be clearing the resources. For me to clear my resources, I'll come back to my PowerShell and I'll paste command remove easy resource group. The name is Basil Algae. I'll click enter. I'll be asked if I'm sure I want to remove resource group Basil Algae. I'll press capital letter Y, saying yes. So now with PowerShell, all the resources inside that resource group will be cleared. I'll get to show you that it does not exist again. So if I go to my resource groups, it's still loading. This is Basil Algae, but I'll get to refresh it after the PowerShell command is done. You will see it doesn't exist anymore. Yes, it's done. Now we can go back to our resource group, refresh it, and Basil Algae is no more. It has been cleared. All the resources have been deleted. So that is all for today's video. I believe you learned. Please do well to react to this video. I'll see you in the next video.